So today it is Sierra Hotel One Tango set Sunday, and a few weeks ago we did the Lake 950 Manxman, and today we have the Lake 850 Manxman, which is the smaller of the two models, which comes with its factory original microphone and actually comes with a full-length power lead. In fact, it's even got 4mm plugs on the end. It probably even works, but we're going to go through it anyway. I'll put the soldering iron on because usually we need to unsolder the speaker on GT8 58868 models. I'm just looking how that's been done, and it looks alright. Now this one's been round the houses. Case looks a bit bent, even if it was in place. Okay. Well, I won't take the bottom off, you never know. Right, we'll plug that in to the power supply. And switch on. Oh yeah. Dirty on and off switch. So check that the high-low powers and the whatever set, I don't know what setting it is in because the label's missing. So that's a frustrating situation. On this model, this lowly model, you don't get an extension speaker socket, and somebody has poked something through where it would have an extension speaker socket in the hope that there was one, but there isn't. I remember a local farmer buying about 25 or 30 of these sets, and another dealer having to modify all of them to have an extension speaker because the rather low 1 watt audio output was insufficient to be heard in the tractors. And once it's into an extension speaker, of course you can place that in a sensible position, but somebody had to modify an awful lot of sets there. Right, well, we'll plug that mic in. Select channel 20. And I'll tell you what, it's on frequency and it's doing 3 watts plus. So we'll switch the other camera on and we'll see what that plus is. So in the 30 watt scale, we're doing, well, 3 watts. So, as ever on these, we start here. The manual's still on the bench from last week. 207, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and sometimes you've got a 54 meg second harmonic trap fitted just there, which we have in this occasion, and we'd have to do that on the spectrum analyzer, which isn't a problem, but I don't think we're going to have to do that because it's got this wax seal in it. Sometimes people have messed with these and got themselves more power on a cheap type of power meter where it's reading everything, and unfortunately that everything can include 54 megs or whatever it is, so you can end up with doing 1 watt on 54 megs and 3 watts on the rest of the radio, and all you're doing is interfering with whatever's on 54 megs. So I actually had a comment on one of the videos we did which said, you missed such and such a coil out. Well, of course I missed it out, because it's a 12 meg at the 54 meg second harmonic trap. So here we go. Start with 207. It's actually easier for me to do this on the 3 watt scale initially, because those movements are more obvious. Here we go. These are tiny little movements on the meter. I mean, it's quite a big meter on this instrument. It's about 5 inches. As I've said before, anything over 1.7 watts is acceptable on this chassis, and at the moment we're doing 3, so we're all right. One of the things that can happen is this resistor can burn out, and you can see discoloration on that, and then it's obvious that something's happened and it needs replacing. But that's not the case on this set, and it's already doing the 3 watts, as I say. Now I'm currently looking for, can't even speak, for the green trimming tool to do that hexagonal one there, which I think is L... no, I don't know what it is. L something or other. And there's no core fitted there, which is fine. We're actually on a different power supply to usual, and it doesn't have digital instrumentation. It's because the radio's got a 4mm plug on the end of it. I've plugged it into the much bigger power supply which we use for business radios. Business radios in the UK mostly do 25 watts, but some of them have a 45 watt capability. Now the licensing in the UK is very rarely over 25 watts, but because the radios have a 45 watt capability, we sometimes have to turn them up to full blast in order to tune them, and then drop them back down to the legal limit. And so for that the reason we have an 18 amp power supply, which is what I'm on at the moment. So I'm just going to check that we are somewhere around about 13.8 volts, because it can be critical on sets like this. So we'll just check it as it comes into the radio. 13.84. That's absolutely spot on. So I just wanted to check that, because it's got analog meters and they're not as easy to read, of course, as digital ones. So we'll just check the low power setting. It's about 150 milliwatts, which is low, but it's not adjustable, and it's within the limits. When this radio cools down, we'll be able to get a better reading, and I'll just do a quick key up. Yeah, it's about 3.2 at the moment. So on the meter, the one on the front, let's just remove that. We can set this, and it's supposed to be in the centre of the red zone, and it is in the centre of the red zone. That's exactly where it is. It's a bit silly, really, but it doesn't matter whether a set like this is doing 2 watts or whether it's doing 4 watts. You're still supposed to set it to the centre of the red zone, and that's to give the user the confidence that the radio is transmitting. We've all seen the psychological tweak up where some screwdriver expert just turns up the meter sensitivity preset. Oh, look, he's doing more power. Well, there you go. And it's SVR4 for adjusting that, which we don't need to do today. Now, deviation, blow me, I've left the oscillator in the other room, in the living room. Somebody asked me what I'm using, which is a Casio product. Is it? No, it's a Korg product. And so I took it out of here and into there. So I'll just pause the video and fetch it. Okay, so we've retrieved that. We'll go over to FM deviation, switch it on, make sure we're on channel 20, bring that camera back so you can see the deviation meter, and I managed to switch it off with my mic position. Well, that looks a little high. Wow, oh yeah, that is a little high. So it's SVR3, which is the one at the back there. Wallow, that's it. Good. That's deviation covered. So, oh yeah, so frequency. I'll just move the camera across. I will just trim it to fractions. So we'll do that. I'll pop that off. I'll just wait for this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to unsolder the can here, which has got the VCO and all that kind of stuff in it, and it's the trimmer capacitor. I think it's CT201, which is in this right hand corner. So we'll just pause the video and I'll unsolder that and we'll go in there and get it adjusted. Okay, so we've got the can off there, and hopefully we can look at what frequency it is, which was 277913. That's not showing. I need the camera across a bit. There we go. It wants to be 125. So it's the one in the corner there. And for some reason, I can never get that type of tool in, so I'll use a ceramic one. That's gone higher. That's gone higher. Doesn't matter which way I go, we're going higher. That's the lowest it'll come down to. So that's fair enough. It'll drop low as it gets older. It's well within spec. And we'll just pause the video and I'll put that cam back. Right, so now it's time to move the camera. I could have done this while it was on pause. I'll move the camera on to the cyanide meter. It's somewhere up here. Overshot. It's like the golden shot, isn't it? Mark's here. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
There we are. ZX2 all the way from sunny Nottingham. So we're going to start on the receiver. As I said on these sets, we've got the situation where there's no extension speaker socket. So I choke on my cup of tea I had earlier. I'm going to find out which is the hot, shall we use American term. So it was that one. Oh, that sounds pretty crap. Okay, we've got the sensitivity, but we've got hardly any volume. I don't need the negative connect. I do need the negative connected as well. Normally you only need to have one connected. But, oh no, it wouldn't be as easy as that, would it? Especially when you haven't got another crocodile clip lead. Okay, so now with two crocodile clip leads connected, we can start with the receiver, which starts with the front end at L1, L2 and L3. And this is so sensitive. If I tell you that we're listening to 0.3 of a microvolt, we can hear it down to 0.15 of a microvolt, it's certainly very sensitive. So whether or not that detector is set up right is another matter. So we've got the signal, so we're about 4 decibels there, so we'll get tweaking. Well, they were pretty spot on, so now we'll move on to the IF ones. And now we'll move on to those horrible ones, which are the detector. Now these are a compromise between decent audio output and sensitivity, as we've said before. I think we've got that. I think we're there. I think we're ready to take a reading. Let's get the notepad. So it was pretty well out on that detector. And if you remember, it's supposed to be done with a sweep generator, and we've developed this technique with the cyanide meter to speed things up dramatically. So Lake 850, we'll turn the volume down a bit. Lake 850, I must remember to put a M there, not a W. Manxman. And so I'm going to put 20 dB, 12 dB, 10 dB cyanide. It's like doing your lines at school for being naughty. I must not act the fool in class 500 times. So we'll start with that 20 decibel one, and 20 decibel is what? You're all there holding your breath while I work this out. It's 1. It's exactly 1. The pointer was the hair was on the 1, and I couldn't see the 1 because of that. So let's go down to the next scale and we'll look at 12. That looks like 12 to me. So now we've got 0.5. And we'll now look at 10 decibel cyanide, which is about there. We're looking at 0.45. So a really good result there. So, S meter. So we're going to put 100 microvolts in, and I'll move this off. And the adjustment we're looking for is the one nearest me at the front here, and it's SVR2. So that should be S9 for 100 microvolts, and it's a little bit over. So see whether we can turn that down. You can't always. It's just over the 9 on its minimum. As I've said before, some manufacturers use settings other than 100 microvolts. Some use 10 microvolts, some use 50. 50 is standard for ham radio equipment, but certainly not for CB in the UK. And the idea is with the manufacturer, if they have the meter which is more sensitive, it makes their radio looks more sensitive than competitive models, which is all very naughty. So that's as near as we can get that. So we'll look at the squelch, and to do that, let's pop the camera onto the attenuator controls, and then we can see what's happening. So I'll just move that down. We're about there, and stop. Okay. So that's 100 microvolts. We'll turn this to 3 microvolts. It says 0.3, so plus times 10 is 3 microvolts. And we're going to check that squelch out. I'm going to turn the signal generator off. There we are, it's now off. And set the threshold on the squelch. Squelch threshold set. Now we switch the signal generator on. And it doesn't quite come in. So when does it come in? Well, it comes in at 0.38 of a microvolt, and it leaves us at 0.29. So a very useful squelch. No reason it won't get scratchy corner fine. Let's go to the other end of the scale. We'll put the squelch to full. See when it comes in now, and I want it to be S9, which is 100 microvolts. So we're now at 1, 3, 10, 30, 100. I want it to be on now, and it isn't. 300, 1 millivolt, 3 millivolts, 10 millivolts. It's much used as a chocolate teapot because we've got a squelch which never ever comes in. So we'll adjust SVR1 until it does come in. There we have it. But I want it to disappear off at 30. And it will just about do that. Will it come back in at 100? It will. Look at that, we're spot on. So now we'll turn it back to the minimum setting, turn the signal generator off, reset it for threshold, switch the signal generator back on. And hey presto, we've now got squelch at 0.3 of a microvolt, and it's leaving us at 0.23 of a microvolt. What a super duper squelch. So that's that done. Have I missed something? I don't think I have. Well, that was easy. There's nothing wrong with it. Just wanted a bit of tune-up. It was the receiver that was quite a bit out there. No? Can Mark think of anything?
You've done transmit before.
I've done transmit first, yes. Yes, and we can just look back at transmit. I'll just turn that camera off because it's been cooling down for 20 minutes and it was 3.2 watts when I left it, so we'll just see what it is from coldish. About 3.3.5. Yeah, so it's a 3.5 watt set. It's not a 4 watt set, and that's fine.
And it's now 13.8 volts.
And we are. I've checked it with the meter because we're on that pass by with it having got 4mm plugs on it. Yeah, I think we're there. And it's not one I need to put through the dishwasher because it's not as filthy as some of them. And Mike also proudly says it's made in Taiwan, which is great. And of course, we might be poo-pooing these sets at 3.2 watts, but bear in mind how many brand new sets won't even do 3.2 watts. Well, there you are. So pause the video, get the cases on, and put it on the aerial. Just spotted us about to plug the aerial in at the PL259 SL239 connector on the back. It's a bit dirty, so I'm just going to go over that with the fiberglass brush. And the other thing I spotted was a 10 decibel attenuator label, and I'll just glue that on the back. I think it must have come off this set and not last week's. So if there's still some glue in here, which is about had it, it's got to the stage where it's going to have to come out through the side. And we know that it's in the off position. I'm going to have to take all the labels off one of these sets one day and photocopy them onto sticky back paper so we can put new labels on most of these which have got them missing. Right, we'll plug it into the aerial. And will there be any good or bad buddies out there? One niner, Roger. That never works, does it?
He parked up and he come walking across me and gave me his QSL card. I thought that was nice of him. I had a right good chat with him. Just like that.
Well, apart from the echo, that was alright, wasn't it? Well, there we are. That's another one living again. So we'll do an on-the-air test later with Mr. Chippy, and there you have today's Sierra Hotel One Tango radio, the Lake Manxman 850 using the great GT858 chassis, made in Taiwan and manufactured in 1981. Thank you for watching.